Welcome everyone to my comparison between the Bandai Tamashii SH Figuarts and the Medicom Toy Mafex Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man for Spider-Man No Way Home, aka the Raimi-verse Tobey Maguire edition. So finally, in the 2021 movie for the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Spider-Man No Way Home, we saw the multiverse of Spider-Mans. So it was a chance for two of the top companies in 1/12 scale to give us this version of Spider-Man. So on the left is the SH Figuarts version, and on the right is the Mafex one. My go-to for the Marvel line is mostly from the SHF since they started on it and they have a lot more characters. But that's not to say Mafex have done a bad job. They have done some great figures when they released their Marvel Universe characters. So we're going to do a full comparison in terms of the figure itself as well as the accessories, and also pair them up with some of the other Spider-Mans I have in my collection. So in terms of the size of the box, you can see that Mafex is slightly bigger. It's kind of the standard size for both of them, but a really good shot of Spider-Man at the front with the usual logos and stickers. And then on the back, of course, we have an idea of what the figure looks like with the different poses. So let's get the two Spider-Mans out of its packaging and take a look at the comparison. So here is the first look at the two Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Mans. On the left is the SH Figuarts version, on the right is the Mafex edition, both representing the No Way Home Spider-Man, of course. And those of you who don't know, he does have a slightly different look in that movie compared to his original films. Although I'm sure, like me and most of you who collect these figures, your best memories of this Tobey Maguire Spider-Man is from the original trilogy, so the 2002 to 2007 films. And for me, those three sets of films are still some of the best in the superhero universe, and I like all three movies. So in terms of a better looking one for No Way Home, I'll say the SH Figuarts represents it slightly better, like an older Peter Parker. From top to bottom, I feel it transitions a lot better. It feels like Spider-Man is wearing the suit and the costume. Whereas the Mafex edition, it has a lot more joints, a lot more muscular build. It feels like the younger version, which can be a good thing for some people. But of course, it doesn't quite feel like Spider-Man's in the suit, if that makes any sense. You will need to put him in some dynamic poses to get the best out of this figure. So it's still not a bad looking one, but just standing there, I prefer the Figuarts edition. In terms of the paint colors, I like the Mafex one a lot more. You can see that the reds and blues are a lot more saturated, so it does make the web lines stand out a lot more, which in my opinion is the reason why this Spider-Man looks the most menacing. It's probably the best suit in the live action form compared to the Andrew Garfield or Tom Holland versions. Although I would say that the symbol, you can see it a lot more clearer on the Figuarts edition. And then in terms of the head sculpt, it's the same. I would say that they are both sculpted really well. I feel it transitions better on the Figuarts version to the rest of the body, and also the eyes are a lot more clearer, where it's a lot more darker on the Mafex edition. And then for the bottom half, you can see the crotch area. The Mafex one has done it better. You can see it looks a lot more realistic. The SH Figuarts one just looks kind of weird with all these joints, although it's understandable for the articulation. But the Mafex one has this kind of soft rubber material, so it does work for the articulation as well. And then if we take a look at the back, there's not much difference. The symbol is not oversized or undersized on both of them, so I like that. But once again, for the bottom half, I do prefer the Mafex edition. So first impressions, it is really personal preference. The paint colors work better on the Mafex one, but I do like the overall build on the Figuarts edition. So in terms of the comparison of the accessories, let's start off with the hands. So for the SH Figuarts version, we have 5 different sets of hands. And then for the Mafex one, there's a lot more. There are 7 sets of different hands. And there's also an extra set of hands with the magnet, as well as the foot with the magnet. Also for the accessories, both of these Spider-Mans include the mask on its own. So when Peter Parker removes his mask and you're using the unmasked head sculpt, of course you can hold the mask in hand. And this is always a nice bonus in any Spider-Man figure. And I believe it was kind of a trend in the Mafex releases at first. And then SH Figuarts did it for the first time for this Spider-Man. In my opinion, I prefer the Mafex edition simply because it looks a lot more realistic. So imagining when Spider-Man takes off his mask, it kind of looks more like that. Whereas the SH Figuarts one, not so much, but still it's a great bonus to have. As for the web accessories, both of them include different size webs. For the SH Figuarts one, we have 5 different webs, and for the Mafex one, we have 6 different webs. but it is really personal preference if you like the extra long web on the SH Figuarts version or the extra web on the Mafex edition. And for the next accessory, we can take a look at the unmasked head sculpt, so the Peter Parker look on both of the figures, which also includes the neck piece as well for realism. In my opinion, both of them have done a pretty decent job in terms of the look to Tobey Maguire. I'll say that the SH Figuarts one probably looks more like the No Way Home older version of Peter Parker, so the Mafex one kind of looks like a younger version. In my opinion, I'll probably choose the Mafex one because it has the better paint and realism. And I think most people who get this Spider-Man, as I mentioned, is probably for the original trilogy anyways. So they wouldn't mind having a younger looking Peter Parker. So if they just change the hairstyle to slightly longer, no doubt will look like Spider-Man from his original trilogy. But it really is personal preference. Some people probably want this Spider-Man next to the other two Spider-Mans as well, just for like the No Way Home look. So in my opinion, I do like the Mafex one slightly better. And also for both of these figures, they include the alternative unmasked look for Peter Parker. So once again, I'm going to say that the Mafex one is better because it has more of that realistic look. And I think the expression is more used for most of the scenes when he's unmasked. Whereas the SE Figuarts one, this is kind of based on the end scene when he took off his mask and is about to be teleported back to his own universe. So you can see that the hairstyle, they've done it a bit like the end scene, which is fine, especially if you want that particular scene. But in my opinion, once again, I just like the Mafex one. It just works better as a unmasked head sculpt. And this is what sets the Mafex version apart from the SE Figuarts, is we have these two extra accessories. One is the cure device, which is important for the final battle, and the other one is the portal. Although technically this Peter Parker was wearing civilian clothes when he walked through it, but it's always nice to have these bonus accessories. In terms of the articulation and movement, both of these figures are pretty good in their own way. There's probably a lot more joints on the Mafex one for more dynamic poses, but no doubt the SE Figuarts one can also get into some good poses as well. So now for the size comparison, starting off with the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man for the Toy Biz line. And for a long time, this was everyone's only go-to figure in this scale before the likes of Takashii Nations, Medicom and Hasbro made theirs. And I still really like this figure for the memories, for the nostalgia, but you can't really compare it in terms of the sculpt or the accessories. And here it is next to the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man from Marvel Legends. And in my opinion, this isn't a great Spider-Man compared to these two, but I still have it in the collection since I have the other Spider-Mans as well. However, I am looking forward to their Spider-Man 3 version in the black suit. So here it is next to the Marvel Legends, The Amazing Spider-Man, as well as next to the Marvel Legends Integrated Suit Spider-Man, and next to the SH Figuarts The Amazing Spider-Man, and here it is next to the SH Figuarts Final Battle version of the Integrated Suit Spider-Man, and back to the Toy Biz line next to a Mary Jane, and also next to the Toy Biz J. Jonah Jameson, as well as next to the SH Figuarts version of Green Goblin, and here it is next to the Marvel Legends MJ, as well as next to the Marvel Legends Ned Leeds. And here it is next to the Marvel Legends First Appearance Spider-Man. And next to a Marvel Legends Spider-Man from the animated series. So now for my final thoughts on the SH Figuarts and the Mafex versions of the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man for Spider-Man No Way Home. Of course, both of the figures are good in their own way. They have their pros and cons. In my personal opinion, I do prefer the build and look on the SH Figuarts one. From the head sculpt to the overall smooth transition, it works a lot better on the Takashii Nations line. I feel it kind of looks like the No Way Home older Peter Parker. For the Mafex version, of course, it's still a very good build. It reminds me of the original trilogy, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, and I'm sure a lot of collectors do prefer that. However, in terms of the build, I think it's a bit more muscular than the Figuarts version, so you do need him in more dynamic poses to get the best out of it. In terms of the accessories, of course, Mafex has more. For the webs and hands, it's more or less equal, but I do prefer the mask on its own on the Mafex one. As for the unmasked head sculpts, I really like the detail and paint on the Mafex edition. However, you could argue that the Figuarts one looks more like the older Peter Parker. In terms of the other accessories like the portal and cure device, of course, you only get it in the Mafex one. So purely for value for money, the Mafex one wins. So overall, I'll say go for the Mafex one. However, if you already have most of your Marvel figures from the Takashii Nations line, then stick to the Figuarts version. Let me know in the comments below which one you prefer and if you will be picking up the Amazing Spider-Man as well as the Integrated Suit Spider-Man from the Medicom line as well if you already have the Figuarts version. And also check out my reviews of both of these Spider-Mans. I will put the links in the description below. Thanks for watching.